purpose of this video is to get started on your personal learning plan task 3, social entrepreneurship. So the aim of this particular PowerPoint is to go through a little bit what social entrepreneurship is and then give a little bit of a sense of how that fits within your PLP. Social entrepreneurship is a rising global phenomenon. It's about people who want to make meaningful change in the world, and it's not just about money. There's some of the stats. So why might you engage in social entrepreneurship? Well, there's some of the reasons for the wider business community. For your purposes in an educational setting, it's a little bit different. It's less about business and more about engaging in entrepreneurial behaviour. And why would you want to do that? Well, it's about developing your capabilities. So being kind of ready for the future world of work, you're going to be needing to develop skills, abilities, dispositions in things like identifying a problem, being innovative and coming up with solutions to problems, working with others, developing your own skills and talents. So where can what I love or what I do really well fit into this group? Communication, self-management, so the personal and social capability. How do I manage my time? What is it I need to do next? Etc., etc. These are all skills and capabilities that you're going to increasingly need. And so entrepreneurialism within schools is designed to kind of help you develop that. So social entrepreneurialism, it's basically entrepreneurship for good, and it's bringing creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial solutions to local and global challenges. David Bornstein defined it as path breakers with a powerful new idea who combine visionary and real-world problem-solving and creativity, have a strong moral fibre, and are totally possessed by their vision of change. And there's some of the problems that are an issue, globally, perhaps locally, perhaps even at a school-based level. We'll come back to that more in a moment. Social entrepreneurship is about creating true value. And here's an example of some students. I'm not going to show you the video, but I encourage you to see the video. There's some students who just decided that they were going to end plastic bags. And so there's their problem. And then they came up with, a solution that was workable and doable, and they made it happen. And by doing so, they developed, an enormous amount of capabilities that are applicable across the learning areas, and it doesn't matter what it is you're going to end up doing, those skills and capabilities are going to be useful. They're traits of social entrepreneurs, so innovations in there, and using your skills and talents is an important feature of this idea. So it's, your skills and your talents, how can you utilise that to address a problem? PLP task 3. So you're going to be developing a social enterprise or a social innovation using Solutions Fluency 6Ds. This is just a kind of easy way to remember how you might come up with a solution. It's got 6 Ds: define, discover, dream, design, deliver, and debrief. The rest of the PowerPoint kind of goes through those a little bit more in detail. And then your planning project document has that very much in detail and has each of those sections broken down into questions that you'll need to answer. Okay, so define. Define's all about, what is the problem that we're going to address? What's your why? And you probably want your goals to intersect with this sort of thing. What's going to serve people? What do you care about or are passionate about? I mean, it can be as simple as chess, for instance, and then who you are, and that also has to do with your passions, but also your skills and your talents. So what is it that you do really well? What do you care most about? What upsets you? What social environment issues move you the most? And who do you look up to? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? These are all things that I want you to think about whilst you're doing the first part of that planning document, and hopefully you work through some of these questions a bit as a class as well. If you had $1 billion, what would you choose to do, and how would you spend your time? Oh, if you only had 2 years left to live, what would you choose to do? And if you had $1 billion, what would you spend your time doing? So it's about finding kind of core passions, as opposed to, you know, like a wage means to an end. Choosing a cause. What major problem or challenge in the world do you feel personally most needs to be help solved? What unique skills and passions can you offer, and what are you great at? There again is some of the pressing global problems. Local community problems could mean a range of things. So there might be something at the local primary school. You might want to talk to the Rotary Club. You might want to support the community's environment. And here's where you can also think in terms of your local school level. So for instance, perhaps you could, you know, identify the litter situation as a problem and then come up with a solution and deliver a solution for how you might improve the culture. Or maybe student engagement is a problem on a really local, as in school level, and your school culture, so everyone being involved in school culture. So maybe it could be as simple as working with the house system to interact your soccer games that you do during lunch with the wider school community. For something global, if you're thinking something global, you can always do a Google search. You might want to see what others are doing and see if you can help. There's an example in a moment. So on your planning document, you're then asked to rate your problems in terms of what bothers you the most, what's already worked upon, and this is the discover part of the solutions fluency. So finding out more and exploring the ideas better. What are some of the better ideas that you've got? And again, thinking in terms of your skills, talents, and passions. Dream part of the solutions fluency. So this is where you come up with your idea. And here is some examples of some different business models. It's not completely inclusive. There'll be other things you can do, but as a way of, you know, getting you thinking about what your project will be doing, here's some ideas. So 1-for-1, write a product and the company gives the product to someone in need. That's one option. Here's an example. So Tom's Shoes, 1-for-1 shoes. They sell shoes and someone buys it, and then for every shoe sold, they'll give one to a country in need. And there are many things that you can do. There's a lot of talented people, a lot of talented POP teachers who are very good at a range of things that can, help you undertake a product 1-for-1. This is glasses. So buy a set of glasses and we'll give glasses to someone who needs profits for a purpose. So you run a business and you allocate a portion of the profits to a social or environmental good, and that could be a charity or a particular cause. You run a small business, profits go to a charity. Here's an example, another example. Fair trade companies source products under fair trade standards. Here's some examples. And then there's some things where, certain industries and enterprises are just inherently impactful, inherently good for adding value to others and for the social good. So things like education, serving the poor. And with education, that could be something within your school, might be something within a local school. Clean technologies and renewable energy. Non-profit models are things like donation-supported models, and I encourage you to have a look at this library project. You know, it was as simple as understanding that schools in Vanuatu had a very low literacy rate and they didn't have books. So they identified the need for those students to have books and then essentially went through a process of gathering books and donating them. As a result, it's turned into quite a nice little social enterprise where some students go over to Vanuatu and actually help set up libraries. And these are things that genuinely make a difference to people's lives, and with an essentially fairly simple solution to the problem. Okay, the next part is designing what you will achieve and how. This is a checkpoint. This is where you're going to be passing up your planning document. You pass it up to the PLG teacher, and also the PLP steering committee will have a look over it and give you a bit of feedback and see how you might adapt it. You might want to, at this stage, choose one project that as a whole class you want to thoroughly work on. At this point also, through the planning document is where you'll address some of the stuff that you're going to be doing in terms of your performance standards, in terms of goals and capability development. Those are the things you're going to be assessed on. Coming up with goals, fulfilling those goals, planning towards those goals, and developing your capabilities. And then finally is, actually it's not finally, second to last is deliver. So this is where you're going to deliver what you've planned. There's lots of allies around the school that can help make things happen. There's myself, there's the PLP steering committee, there's, incidentally, PLP steering committee can qualify as a task 3, so if you want to get involved in that, you'll be working with me. There's Daniel, there's Mr. Mosley, there's house leaders, and there's student leadership. And then you will be getting to the debrief stage. So reflecting on what you've done and achieved according to your goals and capabilities in your portfolio. You present your project to a panel, community members, myself, Ms. Robinson, and some students from the PLP steering committee. And each class as well will also have a pin-up board in the resource centre to display, what it is that they've done to the wider community. Thank you. I'll go through that stuff in more detail using the project planner and also the task sheet.